Hello, my amazing artists. Today we are going to be making a portrait inspired by Gustav Klimt. Here are a few things you're going to need. I have a pencil, a marker, scissors. You're going to need tape or glue, and some sort of image for your portrait. I had this old photograph laying around that I had multiple copies of, so I'm going to use that. But you can also look in a magazine and find an ad that you can use. Make sure it is okay by your parents that you can use that picture. You're going to start by cutting out the portrait. So I'm going to cut out my whole body first. I'm going to cut around my arm. I'm only going to be cutting out one person for this. This is Miss LaRock's old prom picture from like 10 years ago. I'm trying to keep as many of the original details. I'm going to be actually cutting off the dress because what I'm going to be drawing is the clothing. I'm trying to leave as much of my hair in as I can, so I'm going around cutting off that part of the dress, and I'm trying to leave as much skin in as I can, so that way I can add on to as much of the dress as I want. I'm going to tape it down first, which I'm glad I did, because if I were to have glued it down, I wouldn't be able to go back and change it as I wanted. I'm not very crazy about how it looks, and you'll see that I'm going to actually be changing how it's cut out. So I'm going to tape it down right in the center of my paper, so that way I have the most room to add onto the background. We're going to speed it up a little bit, but the next part is a little bit of trial and error. I did not like the way that my arm was just floating there, so I was going to try and draw a dress that had pockets in it, so that it looked like the hand was going into the pocket. Boys and girls, this step is going to be a lot of trial and error. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to need to use your eraser. You're going to see that I'm using my eraser a lot to fix and make the body look more proportionate. The first time I drew this, I did not like how it looked, so I'm going to go back in and tweak it to make it look the way I want it to. I had this idea of making it a one-shoulder dress, but it's not exactly working the way that I wanted it to, and it doesn't look right with the portrait part of the artwork. So I'm going to trim part of it off. That's kind of why I'm glad I taped it, so that way I could go back and edit the portrait part if I needed to. Now I have this funky curl that's just laying in the middle, and I don't like the way that that looks either, so I'm going to cut that part off. I really did not like this arm part, so I'm going to try and make it look like the arm is behind the body. So I'm going to fix this part and draw it like the arm is going back, and then the dress is in front. Boys and girls, even me, I don't draw things perfectly the first time. It takes a couple of tries. You can see my paper has erase marks. Guess what? That is okay. You're going to be outlining it, so it's going to be less noticeable. So I'm fixing the bottom part of the dress. You do not need to draw a dress. I just chose to draw a dress because that's what I was wearing in the picture, but you can draw it however you want as long as it's a portrait. It could be an alien. Once I'm happy with the body, I'm going to go in and add patterns. You can create your own patterns, or you can use the pattern sheet that I posted with this in the Google Slides. Once I fill my whole dress in with different patterns, I'm going to actually add the Illuminati type of eye in the triangle because Gustav Klimt actually used that a lot in his artworks. I'm going to break up my background a little bit using different shapes and lines to fill in with different patterns. I'm doing this to kind of make it a little more interesting than just having one solid color or one solid shape or one solid pattern. From there, I'm going to get my black marker out and I'm going to start outlining the body and the patterns within the body as well. I'm going to start outlining the background as well, adding those shapes and lines. And I will be filling those in with different patterns. Each shape that I have created for the background is going to have a different pattern. This is just going to make it look really interesting. I'm using some of the ideas from the pattern sheet, but you can come up with your own and create it however you would like. Get as creative as you want. It's going to look really neat. The more you fill in, the more details there are, the more interesting your portrait is going to look. Now I'm going to speed up really fast and show you how it's going to look at the end. Once you are finished filling in all of your patterns, feel free to add color if you'd like. I kind of like the black and white look, but that's just my preference. Feel free to add and make it your own. And voila, we are finished. Don't forget to email me your results or submit them in our Google Classroom. See you soon!